Hello. On September 15, 2016, Angelina Jolie filed for divorce from her husband, Brad Pitt. Probably all of you are familiar with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, very famous actor and actress. They got married 2 years ago in 2014. So they've been married for 2 years. They've been together for 12 years. And also last year, in July of 2015, I made a tutorial video on compatibility. I used their charts to demonstrate the ideas. And in that video, which I have a link to down here at the bottom right corner of the slide, in that video, I say that the compatibility is great. It's wonderful. Look at all these great things going on. Well, maybe it's so great, but something went wrong. Angelina's filing for divorce. So what went wrong? Well, first thing we often do in astrology is see what the transits, progressions, and also solar arc directions. A lot of astrologers use solar arc directions, and I do as well. And let's see what's going on in their charts. That's one thing to do. All right. So here's the natal chart of Brad Pitt, who has A accuracy. It's not from birth certificate or birth record, but it's pretty good. And I'm in the Series 2.0 software, and I have selected a timeline format forecast for the month of September 2016. Right in the middle of the month, right here around the 15th, is when Angelina files for divorce. So what I like to do is I'm looking at these transit to natal. I can see all the aspects that are within orb, and here I see something on the 20th. It may be a little difficult to read in this captured window, but in the program it's easier to read, and it says 20. On the left it says Uranus square Venus. So it's transiting Uranus square natal Venus within 5 days of the filing for divorce. Most astrologers probably rolling their eyes and going, oh my God, it makes perfect sense. When transiting Uranus squares Venus, there's often upsets in romantic relationships. And the reason that there are upsets is because people get excited. They want more excitement. There's a tendency to flirt or even cheat. So our astrological analysis indicates that Angelina is filing for divorce partly because Brad is not fully committed to the relationship. His attention is not fully in it. He's flirting or looking at other girls. Maybe it's only happening once or twice. And this is the critical thing I'll get to in a second when I show you their ninth harmonic charts again, which I showed in the previous video, is that when you have this beautiful bonding that they have, you're also vulnerable. It can really sting when the person is not giving their attention to the relationship and supporting the family. So this is part of it. She's upset because he's not fully engaged, at least lately. You would think he would be fully engaged by the great compatibility, but here's a way to look at it. The compatibility is like taking the ingredients, mixing them together. They mix together beautiful. They have a fantastic compatibility, but the relationship is only going to be as good as the individuals. And from an astrological point of view, in terms of learning the astrology and what the astrology says, it's saying that one of the ingredients, Brad in this case, his attention had wandered lately. He hasn't stepped up to the plate. He hasn't made the devotion to this family, the beautiful bonding that's there. He's let his mind wander from that. So that's what's going on, transiting Uranus square natal Venus. And Angelina won't stand for it. We'll see her transits and what's going on in her chart and why she's responding the way she is. So we look at the transits, we see the theme going on, that this is one of the challenges of this Hollywood lifestyle. He's very handsome and charming, and all these women falling for him. And what we see in the potential for their relationship is to move out of that Hollywood lifestyle into a really devoted, beautiful family. And you could say that Brad Pitt has not lived up to it. He hasn't met the potential of this with this transiting Uranus square natal Venus. I'm not sure that he was cheating or he's gone that bad, but enough to for Angelina to feel that he's not totally in the game, you might say. So what else does he have going on around the 15th? He's actually got some nice little transits going on. Now, this may be surprising. Of course, he's the recipient of the filing for divorce on the 15th, but he has Sun transiting Sun is trine his Moon and his Venus right there on the 15th. That's interesting. We would think that would be a good day. I'll get back to this in a minute. This good energy that's going on right around the same time. With Venus trine Saturn, you would think there'd be some kind of commitment, not a breakup. This is on the day before and still within orb on the 15th. So I'll explain this in a minute, but what we're seeing is a disturbance in the force, transiting Uranus square Venus, but we're also seeing some good things. And I'm going to talk about what this means in a minute. When I'm going to bring up a tri-wheel, and we'll get back to this. There's actually something good going on. That may sound strange, but there is, and I'll explain that in more detail in a second. With progressions, day for year progressed, solar octanatal, nothing very exact in the month of September. We don't see the lines getting really dark and a date to indicate there's exact, and that's typical. Usually these things happen more by transit than by progression. Okay, so that's what's going on in his chart. Now Angelina. So look at Angelina, pull her up. I've got all these charts calculated already, so I can just pull them up. Here's Angelina's birth chart, and I'll pull up this timeline format, we call it, which gives a nice visual of what's going on. And we see that transiting Saturn is trine her natal Mars on the 16th. It's a fairly slow transit. It's within orb for the whole month, exact right around the date that she files for divorce. So what this means is that she's getting serious. She's saying, I'm not going to deal with this nonsense, this immaturity. I want to get moving. I want a mature marriage, a mature life. So Saturn trine Mars means I'm not going to put up with it. I'm out of here. So analyzing the astrology tells us what the energy is that's causing the event. She also has Neptune square Neptune. This is something that happens, very rarely. Obviously, very slow-moving transit. It's only going to happen, once in your life, actually. So this is more of a gradual cyclic thing, and she's disillusioned. So basically, she's gotten disillusioned by the situation, and she doesn't want this flimsy, flamsy, immature sort of thing. And she says, no, we're not going to do this. We're not doing this Hollywood game of people flirting or doing whatever and not being involved and not stepping up to the plate and not being engaged and not being as loving and devoted as adults are capable of being. So she's out of there. So we can see in the astrological analysis what's going on. Now, these are real people undergoing real problems, and I don't want to make light of it and gossip of it, but for the purposes of learning astrology, we can come up with our analysis, and then maybe at some future time we'll find out what happened and see if the astrology is correct. What I find is the astrology is correct 99% of the time. So I'm not doing this for gossip purposes. I respect them as people and their integrity, and I am not beating up on Brad Pitt. He managed to get himself into this wonderful relationship, wonderful connections. We all have our ups and downs. And anyway, we're testing the astrology, and this is what the astrology is telling us is going on. And right now it's not clear what's going on, but this is what the astrology says is going on. And at some future point we'll probably learn more about what happened, and I expect it to confirm the basic ideas that I'm presenting here. So essentially, this, I've summarized it here. Transiting Uranus square Brad's Venus, he flirted or worse with someone. Transiting Saturn trine Angelina's Mars, she doesn't want to have an immature marriage and an immature lifestyle. She also has transiting Neptune square her Neptune. Now, the next thing we can do is we can look at the things that made their marriage so great and see what's happening to it. And in the previous video that I have a link to at the beginning of this video, I emphasize the ninth harmonic relationship. And what I'll do, or what I did, is I made a tri-wheel of Brad's ninth harmonic, Angelina's ninth harmonic, and the ninth harmonic at 12 noon in Los Angeles. I suspect this happened in Los Angeles where they have a home. I don't know what time of day, but that's probably fairly close to a time that is at the heart of this filing for divorce. And we'll look at this, and what we're going to see is that the transiting Uranus square Brad's Venus is going to show up, and the Neptune square, transiting Neptune square Angelina's natal Neptune will also show up, because the orbs are so small that they will show up in the ninth harmonic pattern. Ninth harmonic pattern has very small orbs. 1 degree in the normal chart equals 9 degrees in the ninth harmonic chart. And in order for something to be within, say, a degree in the ninth harmonic, it has to be within minutes. Let's see, it'd be what, 7 minutes roughly. I mean, almost exact. And that's what happens. Here is the tri-wheel. In the middle, I've got on the right side, it tells you that in the middle, or inner ring, let me drag this down a little bit, there we go. In the inner ring, Brad Pitt, ninth harmonic. So this is Brad Pitt, ninth harmonic. Middle ring, Angelina Jolie, ninth harmonic. And outer ring is the Angelina Brad divorce, filing for divorce September 15 at 12 noon, Los Angeles, ninth harmonic. These are all ninth harmonic charts. And I've drawn in some green and some red what's going on. Now in green, in the center, is this beautiful grand trine in Brad Pitt's natal chart. Brad's Moon and Venus in the ninth harmonic are trine is Mars, Uranus, and trine is Neptune in a grand trine. And this pattern combines with Angelina's, the second ring again is Angelina's Sun, 0 Aquarius, her Moon, 27 Cancer. That's an opposition with a 3-degree orb. And so this Sun-Moon opposition in Angelina's ninth harmonic chart, right on Brad's Moon and Venus. This is why they did bond. They do have 6 children. They have done wonderful things. This has manifested. Now, at the time of the divorce, what disturbs it? This is surprising. At the time of the divorce, transiting Sun is at 0 Leo, exactly opposition Angelina's Sun, and right on both moons. Conjunct his moon and her moon. This is all in the ninth harmonic. Transiting Sun's right on. This should be a beautiful day. It's not a beautiful day. It's a terrible day. So what is this beautiful Sun doing on this? What this tells me is that the reason why Angelina is filing for divorce is because she feels that it's healing and better for the family. This shows me she has a good reason for this. This is not because Angelina has lost her wits and lost her senses, gone crazy, and just flipped out and wants to get rid of her husband. Oh, no. Transiting Sun is right on this beautiful pattern. She is actually seeing this as being good for the family. Now you may say, divorce is never good for the family. Well, what are the alternatives? And he's not the worst guy in the world, so it might seem a little oversensitive on her part that she's filing for divorce. Why doesn't she fight through it a little bit more? Well, probably because coming out of this Hollywood lifestyle where everybody is cheating and flirting and trying to build this new way of living, of building family and devotion and dedication and love, and to fall back on that is so heartbreaking. And here's the transiting Neptune. This outer ring is the transiting Neptune, and there's the transiting Neptune, square natal Neptune. It's still there in the ninth harmonic, and with a small orb, because the orb is actually small in the transit, so it's still strong here, and it's tying up with transiting Venus and his Mars and Uranus. So in other words, what's happening is that transiting Sun is on here. She wants to bring healing to the family. Transiting Neptune is coming in, squaring her Neptune, opposition his Mars and Uranus in the ninth harmonic, showing that the idealism, the hope, the dream for this family, because transiting Uranus, look at this, the transiting Uranus square this whole big beautiful Sun-Moon thing. Her Sun, transiting Sun, her Moon, his Venus, all of this getting hammered, you might say, by Uranus squaring it in the ninth harmonic, adding excitement, change, freshness, exuberance. It could be good, but often disruption, often cheating or flirting, lack of commitment. That's what must have happened for Angelina to respond. And this Uranus coming in and disrupting the relationship because of the way that Brad chose to channel it. He didn't have to channel it that way. And Angelina, with this Neptune coming in, squaring her Neptune, and involved in this whole pattern. So two outer planets, Neptune affecting the Mars-Uranus in this grand trine, Uranus coming in and affecting this Sun-Moon in this grand trine, and affecting the whole thing. So these two outer planets resulting, I should say, in Brad Pitt losing his attention, not being fully engaged and involved in this marriage, so he doesn't live up to it. Uranus can be adolescent, and this is what happened. It's that adolescent attitude coming in and disrupting what otherwise was a beautiful, mature situation, because that's how Brad channeled it. He didn't have to. It's a typical thing that people do. And Angelina feeling disillusioned and extremely disappointed by it. And also, what's interesting, transiting Venus in the ninth harmonic chart is 4 Aries, also involved in this pattern. Notice the transiting Venus and transiting Neptune. Transiting Venus and Neptune are opposition. So at the time of the filing of divorce, Venus and Neptune are opposition. 2 Libra, 4 Aries, square Angelina's Neptune, and conjunct 2 of the planets in this grand trine of Brad. So what this means is the dream, the romantic walks on the beach, the romance of this. This should be a time of high romance and excitement in the relationship, and it gets spoiled. And Angelina, with transiting Saturn, trying her Mars, as I said, coming in, you can see that here. Here's the Saturn on her Mars. It shows up in the ninth harmonic. She's just disillusioned. She said, I'm not going to play this immature game. That's not what we signed up for. We're getting out of this adolescent Hollywood life, and we're being devotional and committed to the greater good and the healing of all. And she's actually seeing this as something healing, to not see her family live through this kind of adolescent behavior. So in the end, she sees it as something potentially positive and healing. So what will happen as a result of this divorce is that either Brad will realize that he hasn't been doing what he should be doing to take advantage of the beautiful blessing of this whole energy system and what is developed from it, and he may go through some period of separation or loneliness. He should avoid developing new relationships, because love is more wonderful and caring for each other than the excitement of flirtation or whatever he was doing, something like that. Or maybe another thing that these ninth harmonic patterns are vulnerable to is harshness, rudeness. The blessing of this sweet ninth harmonic energy makes you also vulnerable, because the dislike for harshness and crudeness is so strong. So in some ways, something she gave up on, was not good enough. And he either can step up to the plate and get to that level, which is a more mature, sweeter, and you might say evolved level, or not. The really difficult thing here, as often is the case, is going to be the children, because this is such a beautiful connection. And Brad is not a totally bad guy by far. He's a good guy, and he loves those kids, and they do still love each other. That's the thing. This is not a divorce where they're going to ever forget about each other. The probability that they will remarry soon and really be happy with it is minimal, because when you have energy like this, it's precious. It's very, very beautiful, and it's a sad experience that they're going through. And the chart, the fact that the sun is involved here with the both of the moons and her sun as well, and Venus is involved, shows that this is a bittersweet divorce. They still love each other. They still really wish that it could be different, and they may come back together at some future point. It's mostly in Brad's hands as to whether he can get realigned with the blessing and potential that's here. So anyway, what happens, bottom line, is that if you have a beautiful compatibility, as they do, that is not a walk in the park, you're home free, I found the right person, everything's beautiful. You have to be up to it. You have to be ready for it in order to stay with it. And so the blessing of this kindness, the sweetness, the healing, which is very evident in a lot of the activities that they've been involved in, your selfishness, your need for self-approval, your ego being flattered by other people, giving you attention, whatever that distracts you, your own frustration with yourself or lashing out or other bad habits can destroy it because it becomes vulnerable. So when you have these very sweet things, they're delicate, they're sensitive. You have to take care of each other. Didn't quite happen. Hopefully it can get repaired, and Brad in particular can get back in the game, you might say. Maybe will, maybe won't. I hope that he does, and that this can actually resolve. But otherwise, Angelina is determined to take care of the kids, and in the end, they will be good to the kids. Hopefully, the love that they have for each other doesn't turn to hate or spite. I kind of doubt that it will. So we'll see what happens. But that's it. Transiting Uranus squared Brad's Venus did its usual thing and destroyed even the beautiful potential and beautiful life that they had created so far. So that's it. Here I summarize these conclusions, just repeating what I just said. That's it, my friends. So here's a link to our software company that makes the Sirius program, also Kepler, also the Matrix programs. Here's the website for the Matrix software, astrologysoftware.com. Here's a link to the YouTube video page, and our School of Astrology and other services that we have in our online astrology reports at starguidance.com. Well, thank you very much for listening, my friends. God bless. Namaste.